Hello guys, welcome to Coding Privacy, and this is another video of the Tkinter series. And in this video we are going to create a radio button app. The last video was about creating a basic radio button. We saw a question, as you can see right in the screen, and that had multiple options, and then we checked if the answer was correct or not, but it was too hard coded. Now let's create an app which has multiple questions, each question having multiple radio options, and finally we would click on a submit button and it would say, hey, all the answers are correct or not. And the best part about it is we would try to create it in such a way that you would not even have to change any of the code if you want to add a question. So let's jump right in and see how it goes. The first thing that we would do is create a JSON. So I would just say questions with wait a second, answers, and we'll have a JSON for that, and I'll just have a number. So the key would be number. I'll explain it to you. It would make sense after a while why I'm doing this. So 1 is the key here, and then in the value I would have another JSON which would say basically question title, and then I would say what is the name of this channel, which is what is the name of this channel, right? Then I would say question option, and there would be multiple options, right? So let me give 2 options, coding privacy and then privacy coding. Okay. Yes. So after that we would say question. You would just say, okay, let's say correct option, right? Which is basically the answer. So that would be coding privacy, and put a comma over here. This is the first one. Let us copy this whole thing, create another one. So I'll say 2, and what are we learning today? Let's put that question, right? And then why am I doing this? Yes, the radio button, check button, and the answer is radio button, right? Okay, cool. So now we have a JSON array, and so this is how you're going to create all the questions. And now what we want to do is you want to create a code that accepts as many questions as you put in this one. So obviously there's going to be a for loop. So we would start with do not put this variable. Okay, let's keep this outside for now. Okay, here for question object in question with answers. So we are iterating through everything that we created in that JSON, and what we do is, first of all, let's get everything right. So title is equal to what? So question with answers. So remember, this question object is the key. It's not the whole, it's not the whole first object. You only get a key when you iterate it like this. So for question object in this loop, so it will give you the key, and you would put that key over here, and this is how you got the object. And now you would say, I just need the question title quickly. I'd say Control D, which copies the same line in PyCharm, question options, and I would say for this one, correct option. Now remember, the second one, this is the one which will be a list, right? Because we have more than one options, and this is going to be an answer. Cool. Okay, so now we have a title, options, and answer. Let's start with a label. So I'll move this inside for loop. What is the name of this channel? Instead of this text, what we want is the title, right? And we'll pack it. As you can see, I added the padding for the X and the anchor is W, which means that everything would be on the west side, which is my left side. So everything would stick to the left side. So even if you have all the characters length different, but it would always be left aligned. Basically, that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is what does it. It looks better, so I did it anyways. So now we have two radio button, but we won't be hard coding it. So we would have a for loop, right? So for I in options, we got coding privacy and privacy coding in the first one, right? So let's put this one inside a for loop now, right? And we would just name this an option. Cool. We would remove this one because we don't want that. Okay, now what do we have for the text? So I is what we need in the text. If you select a correct, okay, so variable would be definitely where. If you select a correct value, which is this thing right over here, you would definitely want I in it, which is fair. And I would just remove this indicator on because I like the circles for the radio button. That just shows that it's a radio button, right? So I would keep that. I think this is pretty much it. We'll see when we are stuck, definitely. And so we got all the options, title, options. Now there is this is the final label, which will show you if the answer was correct or not. I don't think that has to be in the loop. And then this one. So when you when you click on the submit button, this is where all the logic will happen. So now what you want to do is you want to check for all the answers that you have put, all the answers that you selected. You want to check, oh, wait a second. So as there are multiple questions inside this for loop, this variable cannot be outside, right? Because each variable will be connected with okay, so X and B. So each variable would be connected with a question, right? So as we already discussed in the last video, that all the radio options for a specific question only needs one variable because there is only going to be one answer. But you cannot do it for, you cannot make one variable for all the question. There has to be one variable per question. So if we have this variable which is set to null, as we did that in the last video, we'll just keep that as it is, and we would tie that with all the options for one particular question, right? And now the thing is, how do we get that value? So because the variable name is same, so the next time if the loop iterates, that we have a new question, and this where variable would basically have a new value which would be set in the radio button, right? So we don't want that. We would want to save that, save all the question selections to some place. So why don't we save that in this JSON only? So we already have an object. What I'll do is I'll say question, okay, not question object, question with answers and question object. So this is how we went in, and then I would say submission, right? So the answer that we selected, and I like to save the whole object inside it, because anytime we change the value of this object, we want that to be reflected in this one. So that is the reason we would pass the whole object and not the string by getting it from here. If we get the string and pass it over there, then if something changes afterwards in the variable, you would not be able to get that. So let's pass the whole object for now. It would be somewhere over here as the fourth field, and you would expect that to happen. You would see in the ending. Now coming back over here, we have a button, a submit button. We had the radio logic done in the last video. Keep in mind, so this, we are out of the for loop now. The for loop was till over here, and now what we want to do is iterate over the whole JSON and then match if this submission that we have over here, right, set, is that matching with this correct option. So let's do that. For I'll just copy this thing. Oops. Okay, and now paste it over here. So for question object with question answers, if questions with answers, question object, and then we have the correct option, right? So if the correct option is equal to what, the same whole thing, but instead of correct option we would say submission, right? So if this thing is equal to submission, then we will want something to happen. But remember, if we say, hey, your answer is correct over here, then it would only be checking one question at this moment. So what we want to do is we want to iterate over all the questions, and we would just say, do it like this: if there is anything wrong, just flag is equal to 1, right? Just return it with a flag is equal to 1. If there's nothing wrong, just keep going and keep checking for all the further answers, as long as there are answers in this dictionary, right? So we would say if anything is not equal, if correct option is not equal to submission at any point, then we would say flag is equal to 1, and just for the sake we would assign flag value to 0 over here. And now when you come out of it, we would just check if flag is equal to 1, then all the answers, any answer is incorrect, any one of the answer is incorrect, right? And if the flag is not equal to 1, which means that all the answers are correct, right? So congrats, and say all the answers are correct. Cool. Okay, I think this should be it. Why don't we start the program and see how that thing is working now, right? Okay, cool. So as you can see, we have 2 questions over here, and both have 2 options as we selected. This space is where that label is placed, and we have a submit button. I click on submit. It says any one of the answer is incorrect because the answers are not matching with the correct option. The correct option is this thing, and the answer submission is basically default values, right? So if I click on privacy coding, name of this channel, what are we learning today, I say check button. If I click on submit, it says any one of the answers is incorrect. Radio button, coding privacy, incorrect. Check button, privacy incorrect. So I think everything it says is incorrect. So there is something wrong we are doing. And let's try to find that out. What are we doing wrong? So we said for question object in questions with answers. So, oh yes. So this basically is not, this will not match because this is not a string, right? So what we will have to do is we'll have to say summation is equal to this and summation dot get. So this is how we'll get the value from it. This was an object as we already discussed, and to get the value from the object you need to pass the get method. Now if I put the wrong options, it says this. If I put the right answers, oh yes, nice. So it says congrats, all the answers are correct. We almost did everything correct, everything perfectly fine. We just missed that variable.get thing, which is all good. So check button, privacy coding, if I do that, it says not right. Even if I put one answer right and the other one wrong, it says incorrect. Now, if you want to take it a step further, what you can do is you can Also mention in this place what are the incorrect options that you put. When you are doing flag is equal to 1, you can just get those questions, set keep adding it into the array, and then while you are saying any one of the answer is incorrect, you can just pass all the incorrect questions, right? So you can do that, but I think this is good. This is good as it looks. And let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Bye.